this video, we'll be covering Chapter 2, Section 4, which are set operations and Venn diagrams with 3 sets. So that's when we're going to be using this side, okay? As you can see, we have the blanks. This is for this circle, this is for this circle, and then of course this one on top is for the circle here. These are a little bit more complicated, so I would suggest mastering 2.3 before starting this section. All right. So we're going to give the example. Here's everything in the universe. Here's our A, here's our B, and here's our C. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and graph it on the Venn diagram, okay? So when you're starting these, it's going to be similar where we want to do the intersecting first. First intersecting part we're going to want to do is the one where all 3 circles are overlapped, which is this part here. So you can see one circle here, the second circle, and then the third. So this part is going to be the part we want to start with. So that's going to be A and B and C. So the first thing we're going to do is look at A, B, and C, and then find out what's in common with all 3 sections. A is only for these 2. And here I have B, B, and B. So B is an element common to all 3. So I'm going to start with that here. Okay. C is only for A and C. D is A and B. And F is B and C. So we only have a B here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and label these circles. This will be my A circle. I'll have my B. And then I'll have my C. Let's go ahead and do the other parts. So when we're working in this section here, notice that we have circle A and circle B. So right here is going to be the parts that are in common strictly between A and B. So if I look here, I'm looking for only what's in common with A and B. I still want to look at C to make sure I don't include the element that's already included for all 3 sections. So here I have an A and an A that's in common only with A and B. So I'm going to go ahead and put my A here. Okay. B is already listed. C I have here and not here. And D I have in the both sections too. So I have 2 elements in common with A and B only. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and work either one of these sections next. Let's do this one. This is between B and C. So I'm going to go over here, look at set B and set C and see what's in common. A, no, it's already written. B, already written. C, nope. D, not in common. But F is in common to both of these. So between B and C, we have an element F that goes right there. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this section next, and that's going to be between A and C. So I want to look at these 2 sets. Okay. A is written, B is written, C. There's a C here and there's a C here. So C's are in common between these 2 sets. So I'm going to write C here. D is not, and neither is F. So now we have that part done. Okay. Now let's go ahead and look at the individual sets themselves. Let's start with set A. So here I have A is here, B here, C here, and D there. So I am not going to include any other elements right here. Okay. For B, which is this circle, we want to have A, which is listed, B, which is listed, D, which is listed, and F, which is listed. So I'm not going to include anything here either. Okay. If I go to C, circle C, I can see that I have a B, which is listed, a C, and an F. So nothing is going to go in this part either. Finally, do the universe last. Okay. So we have an A, a B, a C, a D. E is not listed in any of these circles, so that's going to go on the outside, and then F is located here. Okay. This is how you're going to draw your Venn diagrams. Always start in the middle first and then work on the outsides. Do these sections at the very end. And then the universe will be last. All right. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and solve for these parts. This I'm doing it a little bit different, but we can do it both ways. Okay. So here I said A, and I listed all of my elements in A. Okay. Which is A, B, C, and D. So I listed them here. Then I have the or sign, and then I said B and C. So what's in common with B and C? So if I look here, or if you want to look here, you can see between B and C, the only thing that's in common would be F and B. Okay, F and B. Okay, so when we come back over here, we can see that we have A, B, C, D, or means anything on this side or anything on this side, so I added the F over here. Part B says A or B, so that means I want everything in A and everything in B. So let's go ahead and write those out. I have A, B, C, D, and then everything in B, which includes the F. Then I have the word and then I have everything in A and C. Okay, so A is going to be A, B, C, D, and then in C, I also include F. The and means it has to be in both parts, so we're going to look. A is in both, B is in both, C is in both, D is in both, and F is in both. So here's my final answer. Okay. For part C, we have A and parentheses B or not C, or the complement of C. So I would always suggest working with the parentheses first. The thing I did over here was go ahead and list out all my elements in A, which is A, B, C, and D, as listed there. And then over here I did B, which is A, B, D, and F. That's everything in B. Or means I also want anything that's not C. So if I go over here and I see what C is, you can see that you also have an A, a D, and an E. Because I already have the A and the B listed, I went ahead and just added the E. Okay. The word and means it could be anything in this part as long as it matches something in this part. You have to meet both criteria. The only ones that match is the A, the B, C does not because it's only in this set but not in this one, and the D, which is here. E and F are in this set but they're not in this set, but remember you want both, so you can't use those. Okay, so on this problem it says use the Venn diagram to determine the following. Okay, so once again I went ahead and created one on my reusable Venn diagram. And then it's asking for C. So anything in C, and as you can see I listed these here, C is going to be this circle. So if I go ahead and circle everything in the circle, I'm going to have 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So everything in circle C would be counted as an element in C. Okay, in part B it says B or C. So remember we have that or statement. It means you can have one or the other. So I'm going to go ahead and circle everything in C and everything in B. Okay. So for B, our answer is going to be 1, 2, 10, 12, 5, 7, 9, 8, and then 6. Okay? You don't need to count these twice, you just list them once. Okay? Part C has that word and, so it's A and C. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and circle my A, and I'm going to circle the C. only the parts that have been circled 2 times are going to be included. So that's everything in this area here. Okay, so this is like that plate with the cake, this is like the plate with the ice cream, and this is that plate that has both, a little bit of cake and a little bit of ice cream. So when it has that word and, you make sure that you choose the one that has both. So here we have 6, 5, and 7. Okay. Right? Part D says the complement of B or not B. So I'm going to go ahead and circle everything in B. And then because it has that little not or complement sign, we're going to scratch everything off here. So I'm going to go ahead and scratch those off. All right? So our answer is going to be 4, 3, 6, 8, and 11. Part E says A or B or C. So that means it could be in any of the circles. So that or sign says anything that is circle, we will accept. Okay. So here we have 3, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12. Okay. Then we have 1, 2, 9, 10, and 8. Okay. So that's going to be your answer for E. Okay, the next problem is asking us to construct the Venn diagram, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get a fresh Venn diagram, and we're going to go ahead and label our circles. We have A, B, and C. So I'm going to label this A, circle B, and circle C. Okay. Remember, when we're working with Venn diagrams, we want to go ahead and do the intersecting parts first. We always start with the one where all 3 are in common. So when I'm looking over here, I'm looking for what is in common for all 3. It's not the 1, it's not a 3, it's not 4, it's not 6, it is 10. So 10 is in all 3. That's going to go right here in the center. Always do those first. Then you can choose on which of the other intersecting parts you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and do AB first, and that would be right here. Okay. So what's in common with AB only? So 1, 3, 6, 9, 10, but 10's already used, so we don't use that again. So there's nothing in common with A and B only. Let's try A and C, which would go right here. Okay. 1, 3 is in common. So I need to put a 3 here. Let's see if there's any others. 6 and 10. 10's already used, so we don't need to rewrite it. Okay. Our last part is between C and circle B. Those intersecting would be right here. Let's see if there's any. 4 is in common with both. We have not used a 4, so we're going to put a 4 here. Not 7. 9. 9 is in common from both parts here, so I'm going to add a 9 here. And 10, but we've already used a 10. So now that we've done our intersecting parts, let's go ahead and fill out what's with A only. Okay. So if we're looking here, we have not used the 1. The 1 is going to go here. 3 is used. 6 has not been used. We're going to go ahead and add that here. Okay? And then the 10 is right here. For B, we have 4, which is here. 7 has not been used, so that goes there. 9 and 10. So we only have a 7 with B only. For C, we have 3. We have 4. 5 is not listed, so that's going to go here. 8 is not listed, so that will go here. 9 and 10. Okay? For anything outside, we're going to compare it to the universe. So we've used a 1. We have not used a 2, so the 2 will be on the outside. Okay? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So only a 2 is outside of these circles. Okay. So even though I explained it to you already, everything on here is showing you exactly word for word of what I just described. So go ahead and go through it if you need a written form of the instructions. Okay, on this example, it's asking us to use a Venn diagram to determine the region represented. Okay, so all these Roman numerals are doing is saying, hey, this is region 1, where A is A only. Region 3 is B and B only. Region 2 specifies it's A and B. And then region 4 is neither A or B. Okay, so for example, A, it says A or B, and then it has that word not. So what I did on this sheet is I said, what represents in A? Well, if I look at my circle A, it has part 1 and part 2. So I have here 1 and 2. The or sign is here, and B is represented by part 3. So remember, when you have the word or, it could mean any of these. However, when you have that complement or that not sign, you're not going to use any of these. It will be only what is not listed here. So what is not listed is region 4. If I were to do that using my Venn diagram, I would go ahead and say A, which is here, B, which is here, and not means don't use those. We only use region 4. Okay. Part B. Part B says not A and not B. Let's go ahead and use the Venn diagram for this one. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and circle A, and then I'm going to cross A out because it says not A. Circle A, cross it out. Okay. And not B. So I'm going to circle B, and I'm going to cross it out. So I don't want A and I don't want B. The only thing left here is region 4, which I went ahead and put here. Okay. Now part C says, what can you conclude about part A and part B? Well, if we end up with the exact same region, we can say that A or B not has to equal not A and not B. Okay, that's what we can conclude for this part here. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to use the 3 sets. Okay, so I went ahead and recreated this again on my sheet, and then we're going to go ahead and start with A. Part A says which regions represent A and B or C. So in this case, always start with your parentheses first. I'm going to go ahead and mark B or C. So remember that or statement means that you'll take all of it. So I went ahead and circled those 2 parts, B and C. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use a different color marker to represent this word and. Now I'm going to go ahead and circle my A. Okay. By using another marker, I can say, all right, I need A and I need B or C. So if A is in a blue marker and B or C is in a green marker, I'm going to want the circles that are covered by both. Okay. If I look here, this section right here is colored by both a green and a blue. Okay. So here we have the answers of regions 2, 5, and 4, which is what I have here. 2, 5, and 4. Okay. Part B. Part B says A and B or A and C. So I'm going to go ahead and use different markers for each of these. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start with the A and B. All right. So for A and B, here's my A and B. Remember, we want the intersecting parts for both. That's actually going to be this part right here. Okay. This section is both of the big A circle and in the B. So this is the intersecting part for both. Okay. For the next part, it says A and C. So if I go to A and C, which are right here, if I'm looking at the individual circles, that's going to be this part here and this part here. Okay. The word or in between means that we'll take anything that matches this criteria or matches this criteria. So here we can see the sections 2, 4, and 5 match. So here we have sections 2, 4, and 5. Here, part C says, what can you conclude about part A and part B? Well, if the sections match, we can see that those two would have to be equal. Okay? All right, let me know if you have any questions.
I'm going to show you a great tool you can use to practice Venn diagrams in MyMathLab. Okay? When you're in your course, go ahead and click on that first link, the course homepage. Okay? Once you get here, go ahead and scroll down to the Multimedia Library. Select Chapter 2 and go ahead and put 2.4. Select all and then find. When you scroll down, you see an animation for Venn diagrams. Go ahead and click on that link. And here you have a great way to practice your Venn diagrams without having to print them out. Okay, first one says A or B. Remember, A or B is going to be all of the sections. I'm going to go ahead and highlight them all for right now. Okay, the second part says not C. So anything in circle C, you're going to go ahead and take off. Okay, check your answers and it'll tell you if you're correct or to try again. Here it says A and B. So A and B would be these two sections, but then it says and not C. So anything in circle C, we do not want. So only region 2 would be our correct answers. You can check it and then try it another one. Okay, here's a tricky one. This one says not A or not C. Go ahead and try the part in parentheses first. So anything that's not A, I'm going to go ahead and highlight. These sections are not A. It says also or not C. Okay. So even though these sections are not A, we also want to look for sections that are not C. Well, what is not C? Not C would be this section here and also this section here. Then it says and B. So we also want B, which is included in this entire circle. So we will not want this section. We do not want this section, and we do not want this section. You can always check your diagram to make sure you're correct. This is a difficult one, but this type of practice continuously will help us master these sections. Let's try another one. Okay, here it says not A. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is select everything that is not A. Okay, and it has to be a part of B. Since section 8 is not B, I'm going to take that off. I also want to remove part 7 and keep the rest. Then it says and C. So not only does it have to be not A and B, it also has to be C. So the only thing left is going to be section 6 because section 3 is not C and we want C. Let's go ahead and check and it's correct. Okay. A and B, these two sections, are going to be in common with both circles. Okay. And let's do one more. Not A, that would be anything outside of circle A. All right. All right. This is a great way to practice these Venn diagrams. All right. Let me know if you have any questions.